Hey everyone, today on People Now, John Travolta, his family and friends mourn the death of Kelly Preston.
And more sad news as we learn more details surrounding the death of Lisa Marie Presley's 27-year-old son, Benjamin.
Glee cast members speak out in the wake of their former co-star Naya Rivera's disappearance on a California lake.
Also on today's show,
I have this guy at home now, so it's...
Actress Bellamy Young's boyfriend, Pedro, crashes our interview, and we find out how the lovebirds have bonded while staying at home.
Plus,
you don't get that every day, Chauncey.
The great Keith David opening up about his series Greenleaf coming to an end and his guest starring role on an episode of NCIS New Orleans that takes on police misconduct.
All that and more today on People Now. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Monday. Welcome to People Now. I'm Jeremy Parsons. Great to see you. Hey, what's up, Andrea?
Hey, Jeremy. I'm doing well. Something I've been getting into recently is gardening. My mom was on a little trip horseback riding, and so I had to take over the garden. I'm really great at picking beans. We have
Is that what you did this weekend?
I did. I picked beans all weekend, Jeremy. Can you top that?
It's funny you say that because I'm very proud at the moment. We've got a singular tomato plant growing out on like a little roof, and it's got like 10 tomatoes on it. I'm super proud of it. It's the first time I've done anything like that since I was a kid with my dad. And I'm just, the fact that it's happening at all is, it turns out they kind of do it on their own as long as you don't actively kill it. But yeah, so I've got some tomatoes.
All right, I'm impressed. But we have a lot to get to today. Here's what you need to know and what's trending for your Monday.
We start on a sad note today. Actress Kelly Preston has died. A family representative tells People exclusively that Preston passed away Sunday following a 2-year battle with breast cancer. She was 57. The family rep added that Preston chose to keep her fight private and had been undergoing medical treatment for some time while being supported by her closest family and friends.
Preston is survived by her husband, John Travolta, and their children, 20-year-old daughter Ella and 9-year-old son Benjamin. Their son Jet died in January of 2009 when he was 16. Preston studied acting at the University of Southern California and launched her career in 1985, going on to star in films like Jerry Maguire and For Love of the Game. Her final film role was 2018's Gotti, in which she starred opposite her husband.
Along with her decades-long acting career, Preston treasured her romance with Travolta. On New Year's Eve 1990, Travolta proposed in Switzerland, and they married in September of 1991. In 2019, the couple celebrated their 28th wedding anniversary, with Preston calling Travolta the most wonderful man I know in a heartfelt social media post. She then went on to say, "You've given me hope when I have felt lost, loved me patiently and unconditionally, made me laugh harder than any other human being possible, shared the most beautiful highs and at times lows. You're a dream, Daddy-O."
Travolta mourned his late wife on Instagram Sunday evening, expressing his family's gratitude for her doctors and nurses, her friends, and her loved ones. Travolta ended his post by writing, quote, "I will be taking some time to be there for my children who have lost their mother, so forgive me in advance if you don't hear from us for a while." He added, "Please know that I will feel your outpouring of love in the weeks and months ahead as we heal."
Meanwhile, Preston and Travolta's daughter Ella remembered her mom on Instagram, writing in part, "I've never met anyone as courageous, strong, beautiful, and loving as you." She went on to say, "Thank you for being there for me no matter what. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your help, and thank you for making this world a better place. You've made life so beautiful, and I know you will continue to do so always."
Countless stars paid their respects on social media, fondly remembering their experience with Preston. Russell Crowe reflected on the time he auditioned with her, saying, "I haven't seen her much, but when I did, she was always the same sparkly-eyed gem." Maria Shriver tweeted that she is shocked, remembering Preston as such a bright, loving soul, a talented actress, and a loving mom and wife.
Daniel Day Kim reflected on starring with Preston in the 1999 film For the Love of the Game, tweeting that he was lucky enough to work with her, and he added, "She couldn't have been warmer or kinder to a young, nervous actor trying to make good."
Yeah, really sad to hear this. Very terrible news today. Our thoughts obviously go out to Kelly Preston's family during this very difficult time.
And another tough story today, Lisa Marie Presley, who is mourning the loss of her 27-year-old son, Benjamin Keough, previously opened up about being a ferociously protective parent. Back in October 2014, Presley spoke to Healthy Living magazine about raising her 4 children and how she smothers them in love.
In that interview, she emphasized the family's tight-knit bond, adding that she is very protective of her children and explaining, quote, "They are my priority. That's what I do. That's what I care most about. I keep them close to me and make sure they are happy and healthy." Presley admitted that she didn't see that ending anytime soon, going on to say, quote, When they get past 18, I think their problems just get bigger, to be honest. That's always a struggle.
And in 2012, Presley proudly told CMT that each of her kids have a little bit of her late father Elvis Presley in them, but that Benjamin was the true spitting image of the music legend. Presley had a particularly close bond with her son. They even got matching tattoos for Mother's Day back in 2009. In 2012, she revealed on Twitter that the tattoo was a Celtic eternity knot that represents eternal love and connection.
According to a report from TMZ, Keough died on Sunday from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in Calabasas, California. A rep for Presley said that she is beyond devastated over his death, but trying to stay strong for her other children. The rep says that Presley adored Benjamin, adding, quote, "He was the love of her life."
Amber Riley is speaking out about the disappearance of her Glee co-star Naya Rivera, calling it devastating. Riley also tweeted on Sunday with some words for fans who have criticized Glee cast members for not commenting on Rivera's disappearance.
Riley tweeting in part, "No one owes anyone online a performance of grief." And she added, quote, "Focus on Naya and her family, not us. We don't matter right now." Their Glee co-star Kevin McHale shared that sentiment, tweeting on his own page, "Please refrain from judging those who don't show their pain on social media."
Rivera, Riley, and McHale were original cast members of Glee and starred on the show together until season 6. That was in 2015. Now, meanwhile, the search continued on Monday for Rivera, who was presumed dead on July 9th, one day after her 4-year-old son, Josie, was found alone on a boat at Lake Piru in California. The Ventura County Sheriff's Office issued a warning on Sunday to anyone intent on searching for Rivera on their own, urging them not to do so as conditions around the lake are dangerous.
Sergeant Shannon King confirmed to People that investigators completed a search of the cabins near the lake over the weekend, revealing that nothing came of it and that they are not occupied. King explained that the larger focus of the search was the shoreline. According to King, it appears to be 100% just a tragic drowning, with authorities saying that there is no evidence that Rivera left the water. On Sunday, the sheriff's office also shared this photo of divers in the water looking for Rivera. King confirmed that investigators will continue to search the area at least through this Tuesday.
All right, stay with us. We're talking with actress Bellamy Young, who is celebrating a special milestone for the series Criminal Minds. She shares with us a memorable incident from when she was on the set years ago. Plus, Greenleaf star Keith David is opening up about the series coming to an end and his guest appearance on NCIS New Orleans. Stick around. Renee Elise Goldsberry is the latest celeb to swing by PeopleTV's Couch Surfing, where she shares some behind-the-scenes stories from some of her most iconic roles. One of those roles is her portrayal of Angelica Schuyler in the hit Hamilton, for which she won a Tony Award. She opened up to Couch Surfing's Lola Ogunaike about what she thinks the historical musical's legacy will be. Take a listen.
And the hope that you provide.
Renee, this was bigger than a Broadway hit. I mean, it was a movement. When did it dawn on you that this was something beyond special?
The minute I heard Lin-Manuel Miranda's demo of the song that we're looking at right now. And yeah, and we continue, you said it was a movement, you know, I believe that it will continue to be. It's coming out in a time where a very unique time that I don't believe that is an accident. I don't believe that we are pulling statues down at the same time as we are, you know, finally able to give access to everybody, of these founding fathers and mothers. But Tommy Kail always used to say, our job is to, you know, take the bronze off of them, right? And show the real humanity of these people and show their bravery, show the risks they took, show that they are exactly the same as the people that are in the street right now crying for justice. They're exactly the same, even if they're not an 18-year-old black girl saying, you know, say her name. They're exactly the same. And at the same time, you know, show how, you know, the hypocrisy and show how great the dream was and show how much there still is to do.
You can see Renee Elise Goldsberry dive into more of her roles on Couch Surfing. It's now on PeopleTV. WeTV is celebrating the 15th anniversary of Criminal Minds with marathons running every Saturday and Monday all the way through to Labor Day weekend. I sat down with Bellamy Young, who starred in the series as Beth, a love interest for Agent Hotch in the 7th season, and she told me all about her memorable experience booking the gig.
I got this audition, she's a triathlete, and I thought, well, you still have to go on these auditions because, you know, maybe the casting director will remember you for next time.
Because you're like, triathlete, wrong role.
It's not going to be my role. I go, and at least the sides where there was a jogging scene and there was a swimming pool scene, and I was like, well, that's horrible, but we'll wrap a towel around me and we'll get through it. I've auditioned like on a Friday, gone to New York for a friend's wedding. I land in New York and have a message like, you got the part. I'm like, and I'm looking at the script, the new script, and the swimming pool scene is gone. It's riding a bicycle scene. It's a biking scene. And I can't ride a bike. And so no.
I thought that would have been a relief. It's like, okay, can't swim well or elegantly. Okay, great. You can just ride a bike that everyone can do.
I call my manager. I'm like, you have to tell them I can't ride a bike. Can we go back to out of my mouth, I hear say, can we go back to the swimming pool scene? And they call Criminal Minds and they're like, no. And what I didn't know is the Criminal Minds guys in particular are really hardcore bikers. Like they have bikes, they bike like hundreds of miles on the weekends together. It's a thing. And they really, really wanted to have this element in the story for Hotch. And he had this graphite bike he wanted to get in the shot, and like the whole nine. I was like, oh my God. But those sweet Criminal Minds people, they hired a man named Ron Peterson, and he taught me to ride a bicycle. And honey, we did that bicycle. I had to clip in and lean over and like ride a proper racing bike. And I got so nervous when we shot the scene that I chipped my top tooth with my bottom tooth because I was trying to psych myself into doing it right.
Wait, how'd you chip it? Like just literally like,
come on, people do this every day. You got this. Let's do this. Focus your mind.
Wow. But I will say this, I'm a cyclist, and when you get to the point of clipping in, that is a different level, even for someone that's like good on a regular bike.
It literally, I'm sweating now thinking about it. It was fine. If you watch, we shot the little jogging scene after, and if you look in the little jogging scene, you can see my little chip too.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch all the episodes back and look for that. Bellamy may have chipped her tooth back in the day on set, but that is not stopping her now. Her partner, Pedro, briefly joined the interview and opened up about the delicious way that he's been passing the time while staying at home.
Well, he learned to make bread.
Oh, really? That's a very popular thing for some reason. Why?
Stop that for a minute.
It's getting a bit out of control. It's delicious, though.
Yeah?
Oh, yes. So good. And on
Wait,
toast.
Pedro, are you a big cook generally, or is that?
For her, I have been, and all vegan. So for me, it's a challenge. I like the challenge. I like to be kind of limited to some ingredients and then try to make some out of it. So I've been enjoying cooking for us since March.
Yeah.
It's been
Bellamy,
great.
how's he doing?
It's delicious. I'm ruined. I want to go back and support all the restaurants, but I have this guy at home now, so it's.
And the duo have been in New York City for the majority of the past few months. Bellamy reveals exactly why she was thankful to be in the city during this difficult time.
We really live as a community all the time. So when something bad happens, people come together. So you're in it with everybody else in Manhattan or the Bronx or wherever you are. You're in it together. And people are a little bit nicer when you walk down the street. People try a little bit harder. And honestly, there's no place I would have wanted to spend this crazy time besides because they really know how to love each other and get each other through.
Bellamy also stars in the hit series Prodigal Son. It's been picked up for a second season. That teaser dropped a few weeks ago. I talked to Bellamy about if they've begun filming yet and if they plan on changing the direction of the police procedural following the many protests against police brutality.
We're supposed to go back in September. There's a question mark over everybody's head right now, just as we still haven't figured out this coronavirus. No, because I've talked to our creators. They have some really juicy ways back in.
Really?
They've had the writer's room going for a bit, so it's cooking over there. And you've got Martin and Jen Pop, and Ainsley just murdered somebody, and Gil is on the precipice. Is he going to make it? Is he not? A sweet little Jessica just tried to save his life, and then Malcolm in the middle of it all. So it's just teed up. Plus, we're also a cop show. So there are a lot of important stories to tell in that genre right now.
We'll talk a little bit about that if you could, because there's one of the things that's happened in recent days or weeks surrounding the protests and sort of this new attention given to police brutality and a lot of movement in that direction. TV shows related to police have been affected, some gone off the air, kind of other shows talking about rethinking how they approach certain storylines and things like that. What do you anticipate will be the reaction perhaps on that show, and how the writers might react and the storylines and things?
I'm proud to say that Prodigal Son has been like on camera and off camera inclusive from the jump. So the stories that are told are authentic and inclusive, and that matters. I know they also approach everything from character point of view, you know, so I imagine that it will be more personal stories than more didactic, sort of thematic, monolithic things. But yeah, I don't know. They've told me a couple of things that I'm trying to dance around in my brain because I feel like everything I think of is a spoiler to say. But I just want you to know that they're excited about the opportunity.
It's not a master plan. It's not a grandiose plot. It's just a day-to-day journey to take one step at a time, together.
To where?
A new church. Our church. Together.
The 5th and final season of OWN's Greenleaf is underway, and I caught up with the show's star, Keith David, all about the series ending, working with Oprah Winfrey, and so much more. Take a look. You tweeted recently about Greenleaf, talking about the role that it's something that you envisioned most of your life, and it was a real blessing. Talk to me about why it connected so much for you.
You know, very early in my life, I used to want to be a preacher. And in my family, there are a lot of ministers, deacons, and all that stuff. And I thought that I wanted to be part of all that. What I didn't want to be was a hypocrite and talk the talk but not walk the walk. So I didn't know if I had the discipline to be a minister. I played ministers before, but this for me was the role of a lifetime because it allowed me to, it fulfilled a fantasy. You know, my whole life, really, I've been living my dream because I get a chance to do what I always wanted to do in life. But here it took it another level because I get to explore what it's like to be a minister for 40 years, for as long as I've been acting, and have a family. So you see how those two realities kind of converged, and so my fantasy life, it's like, wow, this is really a blessing.
What do you hope the legacy of Greenleaf as a series is going to be?
That people can see that faith is real, that God is real, whether you believe in him or not, that there's a God of my understanding who takes better care of you than you take of yourself, and whether you like it or not, or whether you choose to believe it or not, whether you choose to call him God or not, however you recognize your higher power, they are there taking wonderful care of you, and that's what they're there for you, and it's upon you to call upon that power when you need it.
What was the final day of shooting like for you personally?
Oh boy. It was an emotionally charged day.
I'll bet.
As we are, saying farewell. But I really feel like, especially as far as the family of actors and the family of, crew, that it was more so long. Because if you're in this business long enough, your paths will cross again.
So a tight-knit group, no doubt. Part of that group, Oprah Winfrey, whether it's producing or having a recurring role in the show. What was the most surprising thing about encountering Oprah on this project?
It wasn't surprising. I find her to be a woman who puts her money where her mouth is, and it was really wonderful to be so greatly supported. A producer who really, supports the work, and that was great. And on top of it, we get to play together as actors. Like this, Greenleaf truly has been just one blessing after another. You know, and that's I mean, you don't get that every day, Chauncey.
Well, and I hear that's going to continue to be a blessing because a Greenleaf spinoff is in the works.
Well, you know,
what do we know about that?
One never knows.
One will find out at a later time. Is there anything you can tease about it?
I can tease you about it, but that wouldn't make it true, you know. But
I also spoke with Keith about his complex guest starring role this season on NCIS New Orleans in the episode Biased and what he hopes viewers will take away from it. Watch.
I'm caught in the middle here. If I go too far one way, I'm a traitor to the badge. Go too far the other way, I'm a traitor to the race. All I want is to be fair. Stand by a man I've known for 7 years. Make it better for all of us.
I fail to see how standing by Bradley is making it better for anyone but Bradley.
One of the things that you can take away from it is that things are not always, you know, just black and white. I mean, there are a lot of complexities in life. You know, when people who get upset about Black Lives Mattering, and Black Lives Matter, and want to put, well, all lives matter. Well, all lives do matter. Absolutely, all lives do matter. But we wouldn't have to emphasize Black Lives Matter if there wasn't a blatant attack on Black and brown people. That's the point. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to focus on, the injustice of that and the imbalance of that. In this episode, it becomes very, very complex in a racist police society that is trying to find its balance. We have an incident where a shooting occurs. It happens to be it's a white officer shooting a Black man who is, you know, who is afraid for his life. So I mean, you know, you can understand that dynamic. And Cece's character, she brings up a very important point. Would he have shot so fast if that boy were white? We don't know. But we can say that because the atmosphere is so racially charged in that unbalanced way, that tragedy occurs. Part of that tragedy occurs because there's a gap, a lack of communication on both sides about how to resolve these issues. One of the reasons why, you know, racism is so out of balance is because we refuse as a society to talk about it, to bring it out in the open. There are issues, and there are issues that stem back from slavery. Mm-hmm. And the sense of privilege and the sense of upsmanship, who's better, who's not, that has to be balanced. That is, you know, it has become a societal way of being and thought process that most people take no responsibility for, mm-hmm. especially white people. I mean, you know, white people tend not to understand, you know, what are you getting so upset about? Because when you walk through the door, you're a member of the club until you say you're Jewish or you're something other than what is the flavor of the day. And, you know, especially, you know, in the South. When I walk through that door, there's an immediate grip in the thought process. And I mean, that you'll never know. Mm-hmm. That you won't, that you don't have to feel. And so, I mean, so, you know, there's got to be some kind of a balance and some kind of way of helping you to understand what that process is. So when somebody mentions it, you don't just dismiss it as, oh, come on, you're making too much of it. No, we're not making too much of it.
You can watch Keith David in the NCIS New Orleans episode Biased. It's streaming now on CBS.com, and you can see him weekly in the new episodes of Greenleaf's final season. That's Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on OWN.
All right, coming up tomorrow, we are chatting with celebrity health and fitness trainer Bob Harper about his revamped program specifically for heart attack survivors.
Plus, former NASCAR driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. is telling us all about his experience exploring old abandoned racetracks in his new Peacock series, Lost Speedways.
All right, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Bye, guys.